All right. Here we go. Let's jump into it. We've got Ain't Nobody's Business by Otis Spann. He didn't write it, but we're doing his version, the live version that you can find on YouTube. And then I'll answer some questions after. But I just want to get through this song first. All right. So this song is in the key of C. I'm going to pull it up here so we can listen to it as we go along. It's an 8-bar form. Basically, I'll run you through. It's a standard blues song. So you're going to have, he does it in C. You're going to have C, 2, 3, 4, E7, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, and then F minor for 2, 3, 4, C for 1, 2 to A for 2 beats, D7 for 2 beats, G7 or G sus. We'll figure that out when we get there. And back to C. Maybe a little turnaround. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to F and back to C for 1, 2, and then G, 3, 4. So that gives you the, I hope that's 8 bars. I wasn't counting, but usually if it's not a 12 bar, it's an 8 bar form, usually. So those are the chords. Let's just look at his voicings and some of the licks he uses over it, just to give you that style. Remember, Otis Spann used a lot of blues scale stuff. So you got the major blues scale, what I call the major blues scale, which in C is pretty much the major pentatonic scale plus the minor third. All right. And then you've got the minor blues scale. Which is pretty much the minor pentatonic scale plus the sharp 4 or flat 5. So don't get too hung up on fingering for these scales because you're not really going to play them as scales usually. Usually going to derive licks where you kind of turn back and forth and stuff. And I've covered that in if you look up my name, Arthur Migliazza or Migliazza, but spelled Migliazza, plus lick number 7 or lick number 8, you're going to get the major blues scale and minor blues scale videos. You can see how we do that. All right, so let's go through.
The classic Ain't Nobody's Business was all
So it
his
starts
own.
with this guy
I couldn't
talking.
resist playing you one of the songs that showed off the Otis Spann.
So right there we got it. That's also the way that I start After Hours. Okay, so that's drawing from the major blues scale, right? And then going here to this part of a C chord. Or you can think of it as lick number, I think of it as what I call lick number 1 shape, because you got this 2 and 4 on E and G. Use your second finger to slide, or use your thumb to also push off the D. So, okay. And from there, go into lick number 1 stuff. So I think of that as lick number 1. Okay, then he just goes up to the E7. Otis Spann likes to play in the key of E, A, and D. He's going to catch the 7 chord with the thumb, playing both the 7th and root a lot of times. And the top note can be either the root or the 7th. Okay. Keep in mind he's with a band. Okay, so he's not always playing the left hand. So I'm going to use this left hand to kind of fill in. It's like a Jimmy Yancey left hand. So Okay, then from right there, if you're right here, I think let's see. I just went through this before I signed on. He's already in the shape, and I think he pulls like this to the F chord. And he's going to use this at some point, so might as well get this under your finger. You can find this in their lick number 2. It's a variation of it. Lick number 2 is, so if you invert it, take the G, put it on the bottom, you're still moving the same notes. I keep the A and C in the middle. Okay. Which also kind of works if instead of the A, you use an A flat for when it goes to F minor. All right, let's hear what he does.
Style at its legendary best. The classic Ain't Nobody's Business.
There's your E7. Okay, so there he went to the F. He started playing licks because he's not singing yet, right? So he's playing some piano stuff. The E7, and then goes to the 4, the F. Okay, so he's grabbing it from this. You got to think that C major blues scale I went through at the beginning. If you orient it so that A is kind of your outside notes, still the same notes as the C major blues scale, but I'm orienting my hand so that A is the octave. There's my lick number 5. So he's going up, keeping the A. Okay. So here you kind of push off the second finger to the third finger. I'm going up to the third, sliding it down. So kind of just wiggling my fingers around. Also works as octaves. And when he goes to the F minor, in that second bar of the 4 chord, he switched to the C minor blues scale. So you can hear him harping on these notes in there. Again, slide. Don't use 2 fingers for this G flat to F. I'm using middle finger. So just 3 fingers. Back to the Okay. So back to C. There's that Otis Spann shape, right? A7. That's just leading you to the D7. And then he switches when he gets to the G, the 5, he goes back to C licks. There's your lick 1. This is a classic way to play, quote unquote, the lick or the piano lick. So I've been over this a million times. I'm gonna go over it just one more time here. Go up and then, because I think we got some new people watching. So you go up and come down, slide, cross. And then from there, you've got a lot of options. Maybe you just want to go, if that's your resting place, I'd probably play with the thumb and slide. If you want to, you can can do all kinds of ways to resolve to this E natural for the C. All right, so that's the gist of it. Let's see what else. I love that he has a cigarette lit and sitting on the piano. I can see the smoke coming up. It's great. Just kind of comping. There he gets that C. Notice when he went to the G, he plays this C lick. That's it. Switches to the G augmented 7 for the turnaround. So let's just kind of review. We're going to go through the first time where he's singing. So you might go. Yeah, I lost my voice yesterday. Just play an F minor. Whatever you were playing for F, just flat the third. Lord, it ain't nobody's business if I do. Okay, so you see how it kind of all fits together. All right. Let's jump to his solo section. He's pretty much going to do that same stuff. The only thing you really can't use a C lick over is that E7. Everything else you can use a C scale, either there's the minor blues scale, major blues scale, or just a C lick. But when you go to E7 in that second bar, you've got to kind of obey the E7 chord shape. All right, beautiful. Okay, let's jump to his solo. This is another classic Otis Spann technique that he does that two-handed. And he's up there. Okay, so that two-handed tremolo, which I also have a video out. You can look up two-handed tremolo. So he's playing a C chord. Partly, one of the notes is in the left hand. The other ones are in the right hand. Just go real fast. And he does something interesting on this solo. Listen. That's where he should have gone to E. And the bass, you can hear the bass player gets confused. He starts to go to E, and he realizes that Otis Spann did not go to E. So he stays in C for that second bar. He plays C. And then does some sort of C9 or C7, different shape of C7 in place of the E. That's only on his solo, okay? And then he goes, as usual for the rest of the form. Oops. Oh, that's what he did. He went up to the. He went. Then he's going to go to F. To that. So when you get to the F, F7 first, right? 2, 3, 4, C7, F. Then you get to your blues scale stuff. That, if you look up my name and Shredder lesson 1, you'll see how to do the 3-finger blues scale. That's what he's doing. The fingering is the same, whether it's A minor blues scale, or C minor blues scale. That video's in A minor. But he's playing C minor. Still 3 fingers. Okay, so cross. So you just do 2, 1, and then cross 3. Then 2, 1. So you can. And this usually wouldn't go right into the blues scale. You usually go up a little bit. I actually have a video called "Go High Before You Go Low." So you go up the blues scale and then come down. So that's the thing that he's going to use over F minor. And he mixed in a little F7/C major blues scale. Just these 3 notes. But he can't play this because it's already F minor. So switch to the C minor blues scale. It's a great sound. Back to the C. That's a lick. That's another classic Otis Spann, but I think other people do it too. Okay. Woody, I'm just playing this. He's not doing tenths. I'm just playing this because I like the way they sound, and it gives me a bass to show you what chord I'm on. So you can see F major, F minor. You don't have to play tenths. He's not doing a left hand for this part. But if you want, you would do that for F. Okay, so, but this lick goes lick 1 up, and then switch. I switch 3 and 5, bring them down. Outline the C triad right there. Okay. So that's what he just did, and that's a really good one to know. Same technique. There he's doing that thing I showed you at the beginning. So we've got the tremolo. This is the second round of his solo. There's lick number 2, but inverted. So you can leave out the third, right, altogether, and just let the bass player or your left hand cover that third. Yeah. So there's that same thing, right? He started the song that it keeps coming back to it for when he's in C. There's the beat 1, so all this comes in before. So it's kind of like the thing you did over F, where you're using the C major blues scale, but orienting your hand with the A's on the outside. So not that you're playing the A's all the time, but your hand is in that position. So this location there's your D7. So that was over the A chord. There's your D. And then he'd use the C. Like when he doesn't actually play a G chord. He goes for the D. Comes back to G. Or back to C. So uses the 5 to play in C with the right hand. And it's going to draw your ear back to C, which is where it's heading in 2 beats. Anyway, so that's not just Otis Spann. That's a classic blues piano move. All right, now it goes back to singing. Let's hear how he ends it, and then we'll get to some questions.
How much a child have I do? Yes, have I do?
All right, so just by looking at the video, I think he was trying to get the band's attention. That's why this ending is not where it should be. It's like a little bit delayed. He was looking, and I think no one knew that he wanted to end it. It happens on stage. You know, it happens. Blues isn't usually rigidly rehearsed. You know, there's no sheet music. You don't have much rehearsal. It's like a bunch of guys get together, and they're like, let's play Ain't Nobody's Business. What key? C. I'll take it at the beginning. You guys come in. That's what happened, I bet. It's the song they've played night after night. He maybe sometimes extends the ending and solos, and he doesn't always end it after the same verse. Like maybe he would sometimes take another piano solo right there. So for whatever reason, they didn't catch the ending at the right time. They had to delay it by like a bar, I think. See, he went to G and then ended it, which is weird. So listen. Ain't nobody's business, baby, if I do. This is where it would normally go. So he does something like that. Yeah. Let's see. Not sure exactly what chord he played at the end. I usually do a D9 D flat 9 to a C9. So that would be your left hand's going to go. The right hand's going to use kind of the same notes as a basis for its chords. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much what I got for Ain't Nobody's Business. Gives you a quick overview, some of his moves. You got the chords. Let's look at some questions we had from some of the members before we started, and then I'll get to any questions you guys have now. So let's see. Alan writes in. You had a question about you've been struggling with that tutorial I did on snout swinger. You got the stuff that I showed, but you're having trouble making it sound the same. That in general, I think that's a private lesson sort of question. If you're just struggling to help you individually and see where you are, we'd need to just schedule a private lesson, which you can do by emailing me through my website, arthurmiliazza.com. And so, yeah, that should be no problem to help you with that. And then you asked a question, a really good one that I want to address here, is how do you remember songs? You say it takes about a week for you to learn a new song, and then you move on to the next one, but then you come back to it a few weeks later, and you've kind of forgotten it. That's not just you. That's everybody. You know, motor learning, which is hand muscle memory, it just comes through repetitions. What really helps is once you learn a song if you can perform it in some capacity, whether just take a video of yourself or play for family and friends or get a gig or use it in the gig you already have, then that extra psychological stress of having to perform it and make it perfect, quote unquote, that really helps you remember it. If you can perform something a few times a week in front of an audience, I'd say for like 3 weeks, you're going to remember it for a long time. So I would say get a weekly gig if you can. Not everyone can do this, but if you can have some sort of way to perform. So when I say gig, it doesn't have to necessarily be at the local pub. It could be, have your friends over for cocktails once a week, and then in exchange, they have to listen to you run through your repertoire. That's a joke. The more they drink, the better you sound, right? So, but doing that will help you remember it. That's really what it takes, guys. You can't just run through something for a week and expect to remember it for a long time. It's not gonna happen. You have to use it. Your muscles, your brain has to encode it into these like automatic patterns, and everything from the chord progression to where your fingers are, all that stuff. If you put the extra stress of playing it in front of people, that really helps remember things. All right, so let's see. And then Curtis, thank you. Yeah, you guys have made some more requests. We'll put them on the list. Wayne, thanks for giving another request too. I'll put that on the list. I'm moving pretty slowly through the list now that school has started again. This is my last semester of physical therapy school. So, yeah, that plus the 2 kids, it's like I'm probably going to get to maybe a song every couple weeks just so you guys can manage your expectations until maybe April. Then we'll see if things open up. Then I start working, so we'll see if things open up in terms of my schedule. I can get through a few more songs faster. But yeah, right now it's just going to be kind of a snail's pace. So go through the stuff I already have tutorials of. Use this time to practice, and I'm going to get through the next songs. I'm going to get through every song on the list, but it's not going to be bam, bam, bam. It might be one song every 2 weeks, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now, but I expect that to change in the future. All right, let's see what questions you guys have for me today. And I am broadcasting this publicly, this one, because I think a lot of people ask about Otis Spann, but also I want to remind people that I do have this membership channel where you can make requests. We do have members only office hours, and you get access to all the old office hours, all of the tutorials I've already done. I think it should be over 30 up there now, of different songs that people have requested. So wanted to remind you guys about that. It's only $5 a month. I don't know why I didn't charge more, but that's what I'm doing. Because I love you guys, and I want to pass this stuff on. I don't want to just make it be about money. I feel like it's my duty. A lot of people were very generous with their knowledge when I was growing up, taught me things. So I want to make it available to as many people as want to learn. Let's see. All right. Thank you, guys. Welcome, everybody. We got Valerie, Alan, Scott, Ferenc. Hope I'm not missing anybody. Bruce. All right. Let's see. You type your questions in bold if you or caps if you can. Ferenc, you wanted to ask about hand independence. I've got a lot of videos about that. Also, if you check out schoolofboogie.com, if you look at the boot camp section on the all courses page, all this is free too. There's a bunch of hand independence videos. Check that out. There's also in my book, How to Play Boogie Woogie Piano, On page 30, talks about hand independence, gives you some exercises. Make sure you are familiar with all that first before you ask your question, because it may be answered in one of those things. And either way, that'll be a good review of how I go about hand independence. Let's see. Bruce, great question. Yes, C major blues scale is the same as the A minor blues scale. That's right. Yeah, to get a sus sound, the sus means suspended fourth. So instead of a G, like with the 1 and 3, you'd raise the third to a fourth. And the kind of cool formula for that, to make it sound a little not so bare bones, is use the major triad down a whole step from the chord from the root that you're playing. So G down a whole step is F. So I have F major chord. So I might play D. My 2-5-1 progression might be D7. And then look, I've got pretty much an F chord. I just need to flat this. And keep taking it down. Now I've got my C. So that's kind of the voice leading that we do with that. But the C major blues scale, I'll show you how it sounds over the 2-5-1. So D7. That's over the G. And there's the C. So it works. And the minor blues scale also works. It gets a little tired. I don't like the minor blues scale all the time over every chord. You throw it in sparsely, it's going to really mean more. So I might go C major for the D. Maybe the minor blues. Then you go back to the major sound for the C. Use the minor blues scale sparingly. I mean, you'll know, because you'll start to sound like, oh man, everything I play sounds like cliche crap. Well, that's probably because you're using the minor blues scale a little too much. So back it off. Use it very sparingly. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Dean, good to see you here. How would you take an 8-bar blues and add in passing chords to change things up like the New Orleans players do? Dr. John Clay. So, yeah, transitions, passing chords, usually you look at what is going to lead you to the chord you're going to. Okay? So, we've got C. There's not really anything, you're not going to do any, well, when you say an 8-bar blues, there's a lot of, so 12-bar blues is more or less a uniform form that you kind of tweak here and there. 8-bar blues, there's a lot of different 8-bar blues progressions. If we use this one from Ain't Nobody's Business, I wouldn't use a transition chord to the E. I'd just step up. If you wanted to go to the E with a transition chord, think about what leads to the E. There's two things that lead to a chord that are very commonly used. One is you go to the 5 of that chord first and use that as a jumping point to get to that chord. The other one is you use a half step above and come down to that chord. So if E is my target, I can either go F and come down to E, like in that Ray Charles song, Hard Times. Like he goes to the F. It's a little bit faster than that. So it's like, So that's, see how he went to the F and then step to the E. That song's in a different key, but if it were in C, that's what it would be. The other way is to go to the 5 of E. So that would be a 5 chord of E. What's the 5 of E? B, B7. So 2, 3. It sounds a little different. I might make that part of the E chord. So there's C, stay on for the full bar. No, that totally is starting to sound different. So I wouldn't use that one for this, okay? But like in Georgia on My Mind, I might... Oops. So in that case, it was... I didn't use a B7, I used a B half diminished. I'm not going to explain why, but it sounds a little better. So C, and then B half diminished. There's your B half diminished. There's your E7. If it were this song, he would go to F, right? So 2, 3, 4. So in that case, so I made it work there because I used the E7 bar. I split it up. Half of it was on B, but I played the E7 in the right hand, so I kind of cheated. So it was like C, 2, 4, E7 over B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go to the F. All right. So those are the two ways. So if you're trying to figure something out and you don't know, try those two first. Okay. Let's see how we would use it. So if we go to F, there's no transition to F minor. That's just a flat the third. And these are moving. You could use half steps for the C, A. You could do half steps above each of the 6, the 2, the 5, the 1. It can be easily overused, though. It just sound like you're going to add too many chords, right? So try them. If it's too much activity, don't use transition chords so much. Find the ones that you like, that kind of speak to you in terms of their placement. Like I think with this one, I wouldn't really use much, except maybe going to E. I might every now and then throw in the F or the B. But I don't know. I feel like the chords are moving fast enough that it doesn't really get stagnant if you don't add transition chords. That's right, Bruce. The 3-6-2-5 or the 1-6-2-5. That's why, much to Valerie's chagrin, I keep emphasizing it. It's that circle of fourths or circle of fifths. I think of it as a circle of fourths because a lot of patterns, a lot of movements in this music are in intervals of a fourth. Even when I practice my major scales, I always practice them. I do like C, and then I do C for a while, then I go to F, up a fourth, and then I do B flat, and then I do E flat, then I do A flat. I go around the fourths, because you add a flat each time, and then you subtract a sharp each time once you get to the sharps. It just, I don't know, it kind of all ties together. Might as well play them might as well use practicing scales in a way that kind of makes musical harmonic sense as well. All right. Yeah, no problem, Dean. In England, apparently it's the circle of fifths. And just in my world, it's the circle of fourths. Maybe I'm the only one who uses circle of fourths. All right, guys. Well, it's great to see you. and I'll be in touch about when I can go live again. But hopefully this helps you get down with how Otis Spann hardly plays in C. Really, he usually plays in E, A, D. So it's kind of cool to see how he plays in E. He doesn't use his Otis Spann turnaround, which is, in E, A, and D, they're basically the same shape. In C, he doesn't do that, notice. He does like more just licks. All right, guys. It was a pleasure as always, and I will see you next time. I hope I didn't miss anybody's question. I think I got it all. All right. Take care, guys. Always great to see you. Thanks for your support, and I will see you soon.